The Deputy Prime Minister is joining us live now from the Labor headquarters. I'm guessing you're feeling a bit better now than you were an hour ago, Deputy Prime Minister?
Yes, but there is, we're not calling it yet. There's still a little way to go, but yeah, that's probably a fair call, Kieran.
Tom Connell's called it, Andrew Clennell, the rest of our panel, we've called it for what it's worth. You're not wanting to do the victory lap yet. Is it important that the government doesn't show hubris if you do get across the line, as we expect you will now?
Well, I think when, as I said earlier, when you have a by-election, it is an opportunity to learn, and that's how we're going to treat this. And whatever the result ends up being in terms of who wins or loses the seat, there's something to be learnt from hearing the Australian people speak, which they do in any election. So we are definitely going to be listening to this, trying to understand how we can better operate. But we obviously, I think that the things right now is that the primary vote has held up, which is a huge achievement for Jodi. I think we feel very confident in our Prime Minister, such that he's been here as often as he could be during the course of this campaign, and that obviously stands in stark contrast to the Liberal Party, who have essentially been trying to hide the Leader of the Opposition, who wasn't here at all during the course of today, which is genuinely remarkable. So I think we feel very positive about our leader, we feel very positive about our candidate, but there is obviously much to learn from a result of this kind, and we'll do everything we can to learn.
Andrew Clennell here, Richard Marles. How important is the budget going to be in terms of recovering your position? I say that in terms of the fact that the polls so far, even with the tax cut change, are the same at best. You've obviously had a swing here. How important is this budget for the government?
Oh, well, I mean, the budget is going to be really important. Budget's always important, but it's going to be really important. I think, one of the things that we have sought to demonstrate from the beginning in terms of coming to power is that what we will be doing is being prudent economic managers. That's why we delivered a surplus. That's how we want to go about the management of the budget. It was something that the Liberals were unable to do. But in terms of where we have seen significant expenditure, it has been focused on easing the burden of the cost of living, and that will be an ongoing work. The tax cuts are clearly part of that and very central to that, but they speak to a much broader attempt on our part to do everything we can to try and make things better for Australians by easing cost of living pressures. So all of that is going to be reflected in the budget going forward. It will be a critical moment.
Yeah, it will be a critical moment going forward. Do you give Jim Chalmers credit for getting to this point in terms of the tax cuts being a key driver of that and the key advocate behind it?
Oh, 100%. Jim, we are really lucky to have Jim Chalmers as our Treasurer, and he's done a fantastic job from the moment that he has taken up this post. And I think with Katie Gallagher as the Finance Minister, we have a really, really strong economic team backed in by a Prime Minister who wants to make sure that we are prudent economic managers. And that, that's very much at the heart of how we're going about our government. National security is central, economic management is central. That's got to be the heart of any federal government. That's where the Prime Minister wants us to be, and that's where we are. And what you have seen is in the way that both Jim and Katie have been managing the budget and the economy is a government which is completely focused on prudent, sensible economic management.
You would have noticed the drop in vote for the Greens. Is there anything you would put that down to? I had a senior figure in the Jewish community in Victoria say to me earlier via a message that this is because of their anti-Semitism. It's a backlash against the Greens. What's your read?
Well, I think the Greens go about their business in a very kind of populist way, I suppose. that is, I mean, that their party is based on giving people an experience rather than giving people policy. They are an emotion-based party, and they have been very populist of late. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And so, you know, I mean, there's a whole range of ways in which you can look at what the Greens have been doing, and I think people are seeing that.
Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles, thank you. Appreciate it.